but you can't get up afterwards. And we've got an honor system here, but we have a lot of folks are very interested in what we're doing tonight, and we want to be fair to everybody, so we're going to hold you to that. Dr. Green, do you have some comments on the pool before we hear from the pool, which we'll hear you consecutively, and then we'll get into the animal control ordinance after that. Dr. Green.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. I just wanted to give you a little bit of history so that we know where we are with Zordner and some of the things that we've done since we were here on the capital planning retreat. Zordner is a pool that was built in 1964 by the Skyline Recreation Association. The county bought that pool from the association in 1978 for $217,000. Since then, we've put $1.3 million into the pool. It is our only covered pool, and by far our oldest pool in our system. The rest of our pools range between 15 and 20 years old and are open pools. The age of those open pools, we had talked about bubbling them. That does make bubbling those pools a challenge, both financially and from a construction standpoint. I do want to remind you, most of you were not on the board at this time, but in fiscal year 2008, we did a land swap with the school system where we traded some land out at the soccer park. They had land at the soccer park that we took, and in exchange we gave them the land for the Zordner pool sets. And we at that point in time planned to build a covered pool there. Well, as you well know, in late 2008 we hit a recession that we're just now digging our way out of, and in some following agreements with the schools we postponed that because one is we were cutting budgets, both theirs and ours, and we've had a few challenges along the way. And we have kept it on our capital plan the entire time, but we are just now to the point where we ask you to consider it. As instructed, I am working with Dr. Baldwin with county schools, and we have made finding a solution to both the current and the future needs for our swim teams a priority. Both of us are working pretty diligently at it. Our goals are pretty simple. Short term, we're going to keep Zordner open until the swim season's over. Then we do have to deal with the fact that the pool has to close. We are finding practice and competitive pools for the next school season and the next swim season, working with a number of people who already have pools, some of them open, some of them closed, but we're trying to see what we can do to get those in place for our swim teams to be able to swim. At Zordner, 90% of the swim is for swim teams. On the longer term, we're looking for a space to build a covered pool in some combination with county schools, and we would hope to have that ready for the following season, not next year, but the following season. And we will look to see how that can fit into a solution for a larger facility. We've been meeting with owners of existing pools and to see how we can partner with them, not just next season, but into the future also. And when you have meetings with partners, you know, it has to be advantageous for both partners. So what do they need? What do we need? How do we make that dovetail and work well together? They've been very receptive. I mean, we have talked to many people at this point in time, and everyone who has a pool has been very receptive to finding a way to work with us, and we're very appreciative of that. We hoped in about 3 weeks to have all those meetings finished and be able to bring you a logical solution that meets not only the short-term goal, by that time the first part of the short-term goal will have finished because the swim season will be over, but a short-term solution for next year and then a longer-term plan that would be in place by the following season. We always have to balance things with other needs that we have, and the taxpayers do have to pay for any facility that we acquire. So we're trying to keep that in mind and keep that balance as we go through this process. We always welcome any input, any feedback that will get us to this result of having a permanent place for our swim teams to swim and interim solutions. So that's pretty much where we are right now. I've met or talked with Dr. Baldwin just about every other day since we had our retreat. Met with him today, and we both have met with partners today.
Great.
Yeah, Chairman, Dr. Green, does it make sense? You said 3 weeks. Does it make sense since we have a meeting on the 3rd for you to come back and do exactly what you've done today and just bring us up to date?
I'm happy to come back and give you March 3rd. I hope I'll even have some really good news by then. So I will plan to come back with an update so everybody at least knows where we are and how we're progressing with partners.
That would be great.
All right, thank you, Dr. Green. All right, let me do one other thing that may clear up a few more seats, because I know a lot of you don't have those. Would there be a consensus to move up the consent? How many people are here with the matter on the consent agenda? Got a few, just a couple seats there. I would propose we move the consent agenda, approving that up, so that there'll be a couple seats there. Would that be acceptable with the board? Take that now.
Yes.
Okay. You're welcome to leave good news people. We're not rushing you out, and also in public comment, anybody can speak on anything, but we do have, I'm trying to do this in an efficient, fair manner for everybody, so we'll do it in the pool, and then we'll hear from the animal ordinance folks that want to talk about that. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda as we have published it? There's been a motion by Commissioner Frost. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of passing the consent agenda as it's published, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Then that motion is approved 7-0. Thank you. So consent agenda people also thank you for being here. Now we're on to public comment. Our first section of public comment. Anybody wants to get those seats? It's not greedy or bad to do that. Please feel free. We're going to hear public comment on the pool. I'll ask first, are there any 8 people that wish to give up your time to a spoke? Yes, sir. Yes.
25 overflows are willing to give up their time.
Okay. Do they have a spokesperson in mind? Okay. All right. That sounds good. Let's just get, if 2 folks want to exceed, I'll tell you what, let's do this. Pool and swim community, do you have some people that, spokespeople that you have elected or have talked about coming up and speaking more than 3 minutes on your behalf?
Yes.
Okay, why don't we go ahead and start with you, sir, and you'll get 2 more. Anybody, any other ones? We got 25 people out there. Yes, ma'am, you'll be next, and you're in the purple. You'll be the 3 spokespeople.
Oh, no, I'm not a spokesperson, I'm saying take it out now.
Okay, we've already got that covered, but thank you. And I'll ask that again after you speak. I'll let you 2 speak on behalf of the folks out there, then you have 10 minutes, sir. Go right ahead.
Okay, first, what we want.
Hey, if you give your name and where you're from, so we can get that in the record.
My name is Jim Cottam. I'm from Buncombe County.
Thank you.
And what we are here for is to keep the current facility open until a new one can be built. And for you to honor the commitments from the 2008 time period. This swimming is very personal to me. I'm going to get some personal emotional things out so I don't have to worry about, I can read out data later. I come from a background of swimming. I grew up swimming. I have been working with the swimming community here for 17 years. I know the pool situation. I know the kids. A lot of them are like family to me, and they have been over the years. I've always tried to set a good example for them in leadership, integrity, responsibility, taking ownership, and that's just kind of who I am. And I'm going to fight for them. I'm not going to let this rest. So, we're here to help. We're here to try to find a solution, to work with y'all for a solution, to offer anything that you think we might be able to provide in trying to get from this point to come up with a short-term solution and to come up also with a long-term solution. Since it was announced a couple of weeks ago that y'all would be closing the facility, I've talked to numerous parents, people connected to swimming, that are all saying, well, what can we do? How can we help? How do we get a new facility built? And my response has basically been lately, we're going to use you later, but we don't want to concern ourselves with the new pool. We've got to concern ourselves with keeping Zoidner open right now. I'm sorry, I got to read from this stuff. Not a great public speaker. You asked who I am. Well, I'm a resident of Buncombe County. I'm a very proud father, a husband, a coach for the last 17 years. I grew up swimming. I know what it takes in time and commitment for these kids. I still swim. I still get in there. I still feel the same suffering and pain that they go through, that I put them through each day of the swim season. It meant a tremendous amount to me when I was younger. It probably kept me out of a lot of trouble. And this is my way of being able to get back to swimming, which meant so much to me growing up and still does now. It's also a way for me to give back to my community. It's a service job. I can assure you that I am not in it for the money. So there's absolutely no way that anybody could accuse me of being in it for the dollar. Who does it affect? This is not just going to affect T.C. Robertson and A.C. Reynolds and West Henderson, because they're involved at that facility also. There are thousands, hundreds or thousands of people all over western North Carolina that are going to be affected by this pool closing. There were 13 meets at the pool this season. There were 1,191 participants, and that does include some of them coming back more than once for a meet. There were 24 teams that participated in at least 2 meets. Some of the other coaches and I have conservatively estimated that over 60% of all the high school swim meets in western North Carolina, not just in Buncombe County, but in all of western North Carolina, are conducted at the Zoidner facility. So this affects Murphy, it affects Tuscola, Franklin, Madison, Avery, McDowell. It's not just a Buncombe County issue. There will be a domino effect. Once you send these 3 teams out looking for more pool time, there's going to be a bloodbath, because all of us are going to be going for the same pool time. I've been around here for 17 years. I know the facilities that are available to us in Buncombe County. There is nowhere that you're going to put these 3 teams or 60% of the swim meets in the meantime. It's not going to happen. Believe me, I was here in July and tried to allude to that fact to y'all, but there is not room in this area to put these high schools anywhere. It will be disastrous. In looking for all this data, I went back and I found, this is from 2000. Just to give you an example, I was coaching at Reynolds at that time. Location of the swim meet: Skyland, Warren Wilson, Skyland, 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 Warren Wilson, Skyland, 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 Skyland. It's almost identical in 2014. There hasn't been any changes. The only changes now are we're going to close Skyland, and Warren Wilson is already closed. Who are we talking about? It's the swimmers. They are the valedictorians, the salutatorians, the top 10 in the class. They are the best student athletes that you have in your schools, more than likely. They are our future leaders, community, future leaders of the community, the business owners, the doctors, the lawyers, the managers, engineers, and someday they will be voters. The average GPA for T.C. Robertson over the last 7 years for the girls is 4.264. For the guys, it is 4.16. In the last 5 years, we've had at least 3 valedictorians. We've got the current valedictorian. We've had the salutatorian. We've had 1 year, 5 years ago, that we had 5 of the top 10 in the class. We've had 36 academic All-Americans in that time. We've got kids that are going to Wake Forest, Naval Academy, West Point, Princeton, Duke, Johns Hopkins. Robertson girls or boys were 4th in the nation academically in 2007, 2008. The girls in 2008, 2009 were number 1 in the country academically.